welcome to the show. It's time for another Rufus Opus show. Today we're going to talk about the powers of magic. We're going to continue our conversation on the powers of magic. We've been talking about the stuff that's in column 45 from Liber 777. Before I get too far into things, I would like to point everybody to my rufusopus.com website, where I am selling all of my gimmicks, my gadgets, my gizmos, my hurly-whirlies, and whatnots. All the whatnottery can be found at rufusopus.com. I've got classes. I teach how to do all the stuff that I talk about. I've got kind of in-detail stuff. Super cheap. It's $25 each. I think you're getting a huge bargain because I think this stuff is important and I want people to learn it. And also, I think I'm kind of... on the grand scale of occult teachers, I'm sort of low in terms of like preparation and quality and professionalism. I'm very what you see is what you get. I'm not very prim, proper, and polished these days. I don't really care to do that. And also, I've got a limited amount of time to do things before I die, and I'm focusing on doing those things instead of polishing and all that stuff. If somebody wants to do that after I'm dead, they can go through my shit and fix it. But as a result, I don't feel comfortable charging quite as much as some of my fellow cohorts, but I do think the quality of my materials are good. If you like what you see on this show, you'll like my classes, buy my classes. My classes are cool. And also, they give you everything you need to do all the things that I've been talking about here. All the stuff that I do, I teach, and I teach it for bargain basement level prices because I want to see the universe change. I want you all to change your universe and have a good time also. So let me refresh my chat log here so I can see what's going on. That's all I got to say about money. That's rufusopus.com. I've got products, I've got classes, I've got all kinds of stuff. Please make use of those things. It helps me, it helps you, it helps everybody. All right, enough of the money. Okay, money. Oh, I do have, that's not quite enough of the money. I'm going to be selling some talismans. All right, so I'm sorry, this hair thing is driving me nuts. I really need a haircut. But oh, talismans. Okay, so let me see if I have them here. I don't know if I have them here. I don't think I have them here. I think they're in the garage. Dang it. Of course. All right, so I'm going to be selling some talismans, and they are going to be basically everything you need to get your shit together. Talismans is basically what I'm going to be selling. They have before I go any further, you can make these yourself. And it's always, somebody asked me the other day, should I wait and buy my stuff from you, or should I go ahead and make it myself? And I'm like, honestly, it's always more powerful if you make it yourself. If you make it yourself on paper in the right hour and the right time, and you do the conjuration and you say the wrong words, or they stumble, or you trip over them, and it's not very like, I call upon the Lord God Almighty to bless and consecrate these rites. If you're not like that, if you're like Zeus ho Kephali, Zeus ho Mesos, what comes next? If it's coming from your heart, the spirits are going to respond as if you really mean it, okay? Because that's what they care about. They care about your heart, your intent, the words you speak. You should use the right words because that's how they manifest your stuff. But they want your intent and your personal interest in it. And if you do this stuff on paper in the right hour, and you say the words with the right intent, and you mean it well, and you're doing the best you can, you're going to have a more powerful talisman that you've made for yourself out of paper, pencil, and your own knowledge, your own experience, and your own desires. Your own willpower to make this happen is going into this little paper talisman that you're making. And it can be as beautiful as you want, or as crappy as you want. My stuff is not beautiful. It is functional. It is primitive. It is designed that way on purpose because I am I've got rebellious issues. I don't like that things are supposed to be perfect all the time. I just point out the flaws and everything. It's just how I am. So I find the flaws in things and I make them beautiful in my work, my artwork and stuff. But I'm with my stuff, it's not beautiful, but it's effective. It's effective and it works great. The spirits come when you call them. They do the things you ask them to do. They change your life. They make you a better person. They make you more powerful, more persuasive, more intelligent, Hey, thanks, Ozzy. Trying to keep up the good work. Doing our part. Yeah, so anyway, Yeah, I can go on about this forever. These talismans that I'm making, though, I make them. If you make them yourself, they're more powerful. Of course, they're better. But the thing is people don't trust themselves, and also people think that other people are better at things than they are, and it's just how it is and where you're at. If you ever feel like I want the magic, but I don't feel comfortable. Hey, how's it going? Hi, Franny. If you want the magic, but you don't feel comfortable that that you can do it yourself, and you want someone else to do it, it's perfectly fine to just purchase it and have somebody else do it for you and trust them to do the magic. You should do something to make that object your own and like thank the spirits. I highly recommend you at least say the names of the spirits that are represented by the object and ask them to help you out. You know what I mean? Help you out, bless and consecrate the thing that you're working on, and make it functional for you. Create a personal relationship with those spirits of that object. You know, it's important to do that when you buy something from other people. So anyway, people want to buy my stuff, go ahead, buy my stuff. I encourage you to do that because I like the money, but honestly, you should make it yourself. That said, these talismans are going to have the pinnacle from the Key of Solomon that is from the planet Mercury that brings the Alatori out. It's the Alatori pinnacle. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. From the Jupiter talisman, it has the spirits, the 4 spirits that allow you to control and direct the powers of the forces of Jupiter. And from the sun, it has the talisman from the Key of Solomon that makes you create or bestows upon you a kingship. You know, it makes you noble and increases your reputation and gives you opportunities to succeed. Those are the 3 things that I am using. I'm putting together to make these things. Actually, I don't know how to say your name. Joao. Joao? I'm going to say Joe. I apologize if I'm saying it poorly. But Joe asks, what about laser engravers to create talismans and seals? Is it worth it? If you're asking if it works, yes, it's cool. It's great. It leaves the mark. It uses light to engrave these things, light itself, and we are projectors of light. You know, I think it's really cool and in terms of analog. It's super effective. The lasers I have 2 lasers now. I have a diode laser and a fiber laser. And I use them to make talismans, and they work great. I have no problems. I think they're more powerful even than the ones that I used to use in terms of just like coolness. I think that adds a lot to it. The question though is it worth it? No. Poof, your money, exactly. No, it is not worth it. It is absolutely not worth it. If you're going to spend, all right, so the laser I use to engrave metals is $6,000. I got it because it seemed like a good idea at the time, and I thought I'd be making $10,000 a month on it with it. And I'm not, because that's a lot of work. And it turns out you have to build up a business, and you have to have a business plan, and you have to do all the things that I know you have to do. And I thought I would do it, and it turns out it's harder than I thought, and it takes longer than I thought. And I just haven't spent the time to do all that crap. So I'm not making money on that laser machine out there that cost me $6,000. I have made talismans that have made me enough money to make up for that $6,000 investment. So is it worth it to make the talismans to make the money? Sure. I mean, if you want to make a talisman, but you don't need a laser to get $6,000 from a talisman. You can do it with paper and pencil. You absolutely can do it with paper and pencil. You can do it on the sand at the beach. You can do it. You can do it on your palm with your sweat. Okay, these things aren't meant to be forever. The power comes from the symbol, the power comes from the words, the power comes from the intent of the magician that is calling the magician, the spirit, to show up. That's the power of the magician, is to call the spirit to do the work using the seal. All right, these talismans are great, but they aren't the magic. It's the seal that calls the spirit that does the magic. Okay, and the nice talismans and the right metals and the proper hours, what that gives you is the power of the universe, right? Because if you understand the astrology that's going on in the background, you can pick a time where you're more likely to get the things that you want, and it gives you access to that Spirit's power in your life, because the things that you get from Agrippa that say make it out of sapphire, make it in the hour of Mercury, make it on a Wednesday, make it when Mercury is conjunct with Jupiter, whatever, all these instructions that it tells you to do, what that does is it clarifies and crystallizes the powers of this thing, right? Because it's going to be based on the powers that were at play in relation to where you're at on the earth in that moment. There's a whole concert going on, and it's got all these different things going on in the background. There's harmonies and melodies and beat and rhythm, and all these sections are playing together to make a concert that plays our existence, right? At that moment, astrologically, the notes are all aligned to create the feeling and the experience of triumph or joy or sex or money or power, right? That's the theme of the current of the moment that is being played behind us in the background in these astrological timings. The election of a good Mars thing, you can think of it as like martial music playing in the background. It's encouraging you to accomplish these things. The universe is on your side. That's the power of doing it right. That's the power of making it with the right materials and the right hour, with the right spirits and all that stuff. The power is you get a clear, powerful communication with the spirit to accomplish your desires. Awesome. Very important to have that. Necessary? No, not necessary. What's necessary is your heart, your words, your symbol. The name and the symbol to call the spirits. The spirit does the power work. They do the work. You have to say it. You have to say the words to call it and to tell it what you want. You have to want it to happen. You have to feel it. That's the magic. The magic is feelings, words, and symbols. That's the magic. Okay? Everything else is just so that you can hear what's going on. You can't hear the spirits. Like if it's a Saturn hour and you're trying to contact Venus, you're going to hear all the Saturn stuff that's going on. Saturn, Saturn, Saturn. Can Venus hear you anyway? Yeah, Venus isn't stupid. Venus is everywhere. Venus is here right now. Saturn is louder. You can't hear Venus. In a Venus hour, you're going to hear Venus better. You're going to be able to understand what's going on. It's for your benefit to make it right and to make it all these things so that you can experience it better. Okay, that's the clarity that you get from it. But if you call on Venus loud enough in your hour of need and you focus on hearing her and you can get rid of all the Saturn crap that's going on right now and focus on her, you're having the same experience as if it's the Venus hour, right? Because you know her ways, you know her path, you know her names, you know her secrets, you know where her city is, you know the woods that she likes, you know where she hangs out when it's Saturn time. You can go there instead, right? This is the power of your knowledge as a magician, your understanding of the lore. Right? The lore of Venus tells you what to do to get in touch with her when things aren't right. But when things are right, you don't have to know all that crap. You can just call on Venus and clear stuff, right? So anyway, all right. So that was talking about do you need to make it yourself or not? So I'm making the argument here so that you guys go out and make your own stuff and passionately call on the spirits and whatever. If you want to buy my stuff, buy my stuff. I'm happy to sell it to you. All right. Anyway, it'll work for you. It'll work no matter what. Are the lasers worth it? Not necessarily, not unless you're going to make money with them. If you're going to use the laser to pay for all or make opportunities for you to pay for all that stuff, sure, it's great. But it's not necessary. You can do it with a Dremel tool. Like I got a Dremel tool for $30 at the Goodwill the other day. It works great, I mean, 2,000 times less money to be able to engrave a talisman at the right hour. So that being what it is, yes, that's it. Let's see. All right, lots of questions, really good questions. I'll get back to those because I do have an actual topic today, and I tend to not pay attention to those things. Anyway, I'm going to be announcing my talismans, and they're a Mercury, a Jupiter, and a Sun talisman all rolled into one. It's got one intelligence that is sort of like running everything, and it's a Mercury intelligence, and it's going to take the powers and manifest them for people in a serendipitous way. And I've got the Fascinus talisman. I was going to do one talisman that took care of your love life too, but Venus wasn't properly playing nicely this weekend, but she was fine on Friday. So Friday I did the Fascinus talismans, and then on the rest of the weekend I in the proper hours, I went through and got the rest of the things done. So anyway, I've got these 2 talismans that basically fix all your shit in your life. They get you the money you need, they get you the prestige you need, they help you fix your reputation, all the things I needed when I quit drinking and I started recovering my life. All the things I needed to build up the momentum to have the things I want are covered in these. Basically, it's four talismans, right? It's 2 talismans is all they are, but they're four seals. And the only reason they're on 2 talismans is because I couldn't find a good time to do the Venus one as well, so I had to do that one separate. So a Fascinus talisman and this other talisman that I don't know what I'm going to call it, the get your shit together talisman. Those 2 things are going to be available and relatively affordable. But yeah, that's it for money. All right, that's all I want to say about money. I'm done with money. Let's see, get rid of my money picture here. Okay. So, on with the show, on with what we're actually here to talk about. I'll get back to these questions, by the way, you guys, after I talk about the rest of the stuff. Today we're talking about magical powers, the powers of magic. Last week we talked about the visions of the spheres that you get as you go through these initiations, and how these visions are actually powers. According to Crowley, they're powers in the Western mystery tradition. Crowley listed these occult powers in column 45 in book 777. It's a table of correspondences that the Golden Dawn, Alan Bennett started to put it together. Alan Bennett was sort of a mentor for Aleister Crowley. He was higher up in the Golden Dawn than Crowley when Crowley joined. Crowley looked up to him. Bennett gave him his notes in Tibet or Nepal or something, and Crowley took those and started adding to it. And it's basically all the correspondences between the different planets and the paths on the Tree of Life. Tree of Life. Okay, I cut it off, but this is the Tree of Life. If you're familiar with it, it has 10 spheres. Each sphere represents one of the points of condensation where, as things manifested, God took a break on the way down between the unmanifest and the actual material world. He took a break in Kether, he took a break in Hokmah, he took a break in Bina, and everywhere he took a break along the way, he deposited part of himself, and it became the essences of the planets, right? So 1 is Kether, it's the point, the source of everything. 2 is Hokmah, this is corresponds to the sphere of the zodiac, right? The sphere of the zodiac, SZ. And then Bina is Saturn, 4 is Jupiter, 5 is Mars, 6 is the Sun. So the planetary order picks up after that. And then you get down to 10 and it's the Earth. Okay, so the Tree of Life is their glyph that they use to put this table together. All right, in one column they have 1 through 0. Actually, they have 0 through 10, and then after that they have the numbers for the paths. So it goes 0 is up here, the 3 unmanifest things or whatever. Or maybe 0 is Kether. Anyway, but 1 is Kether, 2 is Hokmah, right? And then you go all the way down to 10, and that's the spheres. And then you start over at 11 here. There's 11, 12, 13, and it always goes from the center to the right, from the center to the left, center down, and then across, right? And then it goes inside, outside, across, and then anyway, that's the pattern that goes. So anyway, it starts at 11, then it goes 12, and then it goes 13 down, and then let me get my little pointer here. So it goes here's 11, and then here's 12, and then here's 13 down, and then here's 14 going across, right? And then 15, 16, and then 17 and 18 and then 19. Okay, so now what he's done is he's taken the additional magical powers, and he's and in the 777 they put the magical powers together, and all the different things on this those become the rows on the left. So you've got 0 through basically 32, and he adds 2 extra columns, 31 bis and 32 bis, because he added extra things he thought were correspondent to those 2 paths in particular. We'll touch on some of that today, but basically the 1 through 32 on the left, and then everything that's corresponded to Kether in the occult traditions, according to the Golden Dawn, shows up in a column across the way. Right, so the columns include tarot cards, like so for the path 11 is the Fool, and path 12 is the Magus, and path 13 is the Priestess, right, and then the Empress, right, and so forth and so on all the way down. And then there's Hebrew letters, like here's Aleph and Bet and Gimel goes up and down, and then Dalet goes across, right? And those are the Hebrew letters. Those represent another thing, right? And then all these different things, they correspond, and that's this big table of stuff. And by the way, in the description there's a link to download a file for today. We'll actually be going over it. I don't have a graphic for it. We'll just keep referring to the graphics I do have. But if you look at the file that is in the link, it's a PDF of a column of the pertinent information I'll be talking about today about the magical powers, and where they line up and what planets they correspond to, and how it all works. So that's the glyph that they're using. That's the idea behind this table that we're looking at. And I hope that's enough of an overview. Everybody should, I would hope everybody would have a better understanding of that than what I need to get into. But if you've forgotten, I hope that's enough to remind you. But basically, so between 1 and 2 is path 11. On this tree of life. So when we get to number 11 on the row, we're talking about the connecting thing between the essence of 1 and the essence of 2. Okay, so here is path 14 connects the sphere of Hokmah to Binah, right? 2 connects to 3 through path 14, right? Path 14 is Dalet, the Hebrew letter Dalet, and the number 14, and in the tarot it is, what's her name, the Empress? No, yeah, the Empress. Dalet is the Empress. Right. So all those things are representative of this path. This path connects Hokmah, the sphere of the zodiac, which is the 12 signs. Right. And when you look at the path of manifestation, an idea originates in the eye of God, in the mind of God. It's projected down through the tree of life into the material world. And in Kether, it takes up on the essence of Kether, which is its source. In Hokmah, in the sphere of the fixed stars, the fate of that idea is applied. Okay, it's like getting its natal chart. When a human being descends, when you go from Kether to Hokmah, you get your natal chart. Right? Think of it as you're in line to manifest. You appear in Kether, you walk down this path to Hokmah to get your natal chart, and you're like, oh shit, this is my instruction chart. What do I do? Right? That's your path on your way to being born. Okay? 11 is the path of the Fool. Okay? That's Aleph, the Fool. It's also the ox. It's what draws you through the whole thing, right? So this path represents the symbols, the connection of the two spheres it connects. All right? It's the essence that joins Kether and Hokmah. It's the Fool. It's the beginning of your journeys. It's starting out, right? That's what the first step is, right? And then after that, you go to the Magus, right? And the Magus is where the essence of Hokmah, I'm sorry, Kether and sorrow, Binah, Saturn. So the essence of the connecting path between the source of all and Saturn is going to be the Magus. Right? And why is it the Magus, the juggler? Because you have to juggle all this stuff, right? So on the one hand, when you go from Kether to the sphere of the zodiac, you go through the path of the Fool. But if you ever have to go as a magician from Saturn to your source, right? And you're not going to bother with the zodiac for this particular path. You need to be the magician, right? If you're going from the source into this material world and you're going to call things down into being, you're going to go through, you take the place of this zodiac. You're establishing the fate yourself. You're short-circuiting the natural process. You're the Magus. You're on path 12, right? Okay, if you want to do this path here, connecting Kether, I keep moving my mouse and you guys can't see it, so I put this lightning bolt on there and I keep forgetting to use it. So anyway, if you go between 1 and 3 here, you're on path 12. You're the Magus, right? And that's Bet, right? The Hebrew letter Bet. That's That's you short-circuiting this. This is the path over here that goes through fate, and then it goes over to sorrow, and you pick up the sorrow of existence, and then it goes over to Jupiter, and it picks up all the blessings of its life, and then it goes over to, right? That's the normal path of creation. If you're a magician, though, you're bringing shit up. You're like, hey, I got this up here, and I'm not, you know, this is how it would normally go. I'm going, fuck you. I'm getting right to fate. I'm the magician, and now we're going to make this happen. We're going from here to the sun, and then we're going to go down, and we're going to go into the moon, and then it's going into the earth. We're going to bam, bam, bam. We're the magician. We're forcing this, right? So that's the path that represents that, and that's just one way of looking at it. There's other aspects to the magician, the tarot card, that you're going to find reflect these two spheres, because they are a model that help you understand the forces that we're working with. These forces are projected through this glyph to communicate the powers of the magician so that we can categorize it and know how to use it. Okay, it's all locked up in these little symbols. It's information, and it's right there in front of us. So the powers of the magician have been assigned to these paths, according to Crowley, in the ways that we're going to be talking about today. So the powers of the magician that he found, so where do these powers come from, right? This is a compendium, a list of magical powers that occultism should give you, right? And it's based on the lore of magicians and sorcerers and conjurers and the things that magicians have always known, and witches have always known, and prophets have always known, and the medical people have always known, the shamans, whatever, the spiritual people of your community that you go to get help when you're going through the trials and struggles of life. Those people know things, right? And they can do things, the mysterious things they can do. From the lore, the magical powers of these magicians, these wizards, Odin hanging from the tree learned the power of magic, and the stuff that he did as a magician, warrior, god, priest, king after that, he learned from hanging from the tree of life. You know, that's the magic. As a magician, he got his power, the ability to read these symbols, the runes, and project his will through them to change the world. All right? Anyway, so point being, this symbol is how we understand how to do this. It gives us the means to project our will. All right, so these powers have been described in all these different myths and all these religions and all these cultures in the Bible. You have all these prophets that can do all this weird shit. You've got the apostles in the New Testament that can do all this weird shit. They can speak to people they've never spoken to. They can tame wild animals, right? They can walk on water, turn water into wine, right? All these are magical powers, miraculous effects that come from their spiritual development, their occult knowledge, their empowerment, right? That is reflected through supernatural abilities that break the laws of physics, or seem to, if you understand how it works. If you understand how it works, it doesn't break the laws of physics. You're using the powers that are represented by these symbols to make natural things happen. It looks supernatural. It looks crazy. But that's not crazy. It's just how it works. These things always work through natural law. At least, I mean, for the most part. You get some weird effects, and you have to really stretch your skeptical brain to figure out how it all manifested sometimes. But it most of the time, it works through natural processes. And so anyway, the names of these magical powers that he came up with are very 19th century. But they are divination, miracles of healing, gift of tongues. Right, gift of tongues is a biblical power that the apostles had. Knowledge of sciences, something that where you just know weird sciences. If you look at the Goetia, right, the Lemegeton, the spirits of the Goetia teach you geometry, geography, rhetoric, logic, philosophy, geology, astronomy, astrology. They teach you the sciences of their day. The Goetia demons were teaching demons that taught you a liberal arts degree school set of information so you could make money. That's what the Goetia was. It wasn't supposed to be these demons that end up possessing the Ouija board that makes the freaking nanny destroy the family in the horror film. Okay, that's not what demons are. You know, it's not that. They're intelligences, they're spirits, and they teach college. We got all these, oh, my head's ripped off and I'm a demon. But really, it's just fucking like glasses and a fucking little goatee professor looking dude. He's there to teach you. He's there to learn you up so that you know how to do this stuff. Anyway, knowledge of sciences. That's path 12, by the way. Let's see, the white tincture. Okay, so in this list of powers, he includes things like the alchemical process of the great work, because again, remember, this is the column that he named Western mysticism and occult powers, right? Magical powers. But these spiritual experiences that he had as he went along these paths, he considered those also magical powers, the powers because they changed your mind. And he saw very much that our experience as magicians is not just drawing circles and wearing the right symbols at the right time and saying the words by rote. He knew that there was something missing, because you can do these rituals and have no effect, and a magician can do these rituals and have massive effects. So the difference between a non-initiated person and an initiate is that the initiate has been granted the powers and the secrets to use it. So when he did his mystical initiations, he received these visions along the way as he went through spheres 1 through 10, and he saw that helped you understand how to do the powerful stuff, right? The powers are a reflection of your understanding, and your understanding is given to you as you interpret the visions that you receive in your initiations into the spheres of the planets. That's why I did the 7 spheres. You initiate into the planets. You have visions, dreams, experiences in your mundane life that reflect what you're dealing with. You go through a process of integrating these powers that you've been exposed to, and they re-transform you into something that's able to direct these powers more clearly going forward, right? That's the process of initiation. And after that, you have understood things differently, because you can see in the material world what your vision that was revealed to you by these spirits, what it meant. These visions give you what look like powers to the mundane people, because you know what's going on. There's a meme going around of a bumper sticker that says, everything is a conspiracy theory when you don't know how anything works. Right? If you don't know how airplanes work, it's magic that they can fly. But it's just science. We look like magicians to the ignorant because we understand how it works. That's why these visions are important. It's how you get your knowledge to have a decent conversation with your holy guardian angel. Right? It all comes together. So anyway, you're going to run into things like the white tincture as a power on this list. So this Western magical power of the white tincture is what I'll get to that. Anyway, so clairvoyance, divination by dreams. These are all path 13. The white tincture, clairvoyance, and divination by dreams. Those 3 powers are related to each other. Some of these paths only have 1 power assigned to them by Crowley. It doesn't mean there's only 1 power that we have supernaturally that is related to those 2 planets it connects. But this is a guide. This is sort of like so you can kind of understand it. And I'm hoping that what we get out of today's session is the understanding that when you want to get these powers, you can look at the planets or the spheres that they connect and understand that working with those planets will get you those powers. All right, so that's the thesis here, and that's what we're going to be exploring here, how that works in practice. All right, so I'm telling you, if for path 17 that connects Binah to Tifereth, the Saturn to the Sun, okay, path 17, the power is bilocation and of prophecy. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. That is Saturn in the Sun, and it's represented by the card the Lovers. Right. Okay. So the Lovers is the balance of the elements to create the Philosopher's Stone. Right. So that is the power of bilocation and prophecy. So if you want to do the Padre Pio thing, where you're able to appear in Argentina and Chile at the same time, or whatever it was that you did, if you want to bilocate, you need to work with the powers of Saturn and the Sun. So how does that work? How can you be in 2 places at once? Right? I mean, it's a mystery that you have to figure out. But Binah is the source of everything. It's the foundation of everything. And the Sun is the projection of everything, right? So if you look at what Padre Pio actually did when he was bilocating, he was given a sermon in 2 places at once. right? And well, actually, he was giving a sermon in one place and he was doing healing in another one. But what he was able to do was he was able to tap into the foundation of everything with the Saturn and the projection of everything with the Sun, find that thing and put it together, right? That's the power of that path, is because he's synthesized the powers of Saturn and the Sun into something that his understanding of the visions that he received as he pursued those things revealed to him how to actually bilocate. Or maybe it just he needed to bilocate and he just naturally tapped into it. I don't know. But for us, we can use Saturn and the Sun to sort of pursue that knowledge and that understanding, right? And then we would conjure the spirit of Path 17, the lovers, right? We'd figure out who that is and call that spirit and call that spirit to manifest for us that power of bilocation, right? But honestly, I don't think it works. I don't think it's like, today I'm going to conjure Bilocationiel, and Bilocationiel is going to help me be in two places at once. It's more like if you need to be in two places at once and take care of two different things at the same time, you're able to do it somehow, right? That's probably what the experience is going to look like. People might think that they saw you in two different places at once, but it's only because you were able to finish everything that you needed to fucking do, okay? So that power of time, that power of space, right? Time is Bina, is Saturn, is the big, hourglass. Time is there. So he's able to move himself back in time, maybe. I don't know. But bilocation and prophecy. Prophecy is time, knowing the future, knowing what's going to happen. But prophets in the Old Testament weren't just diviners, right? Divination is path 11, right? Divination by dreams is path 13. Right? So two different paths have two different kinds of divination. And then you have prophecy over on path 17, right? So is prophecy divination? No, it's not. That's why, right? Is divination by dreams divination? It's both divination, but divination by dreams is different. It uses different powers, right? So that's why divination by dreams ends up on the path between, where is it? Divination by dreams. The Sun and the sphere of the prime mover, right? So path 13 is 1 and 6, right? So it's going to take the essence of the unity, the all thing, the combined pre-manifest unity, and the Sun, and it's going to take those two things and give you divination by dreams, right? Because you're getting a vision from God, and you're projecting it into the world. But when you're doing the prophet shtick, you need to not only have that understanding of what's going to come next. Bina is Saturn, is fate, is undeniable dictates from God what must happen. The will of Zeus is manifested through Saturn, right? That power, that it has authority over it. Okay, so a prophet knows what's going to happen because it's been dictated by God, but it comes with the authority of the Sun to project it and make it happen. Okay, so a prophet isn't a diviner. You can do divination on what, path 12 and path 13. Two different ways of doing things, right? But the prophet path means you have to be initiated into Saturn, you have to be initiated into the Sun, you have to know what the fuck is going on with that, and integrate those powers, right? So that's how that path is going to manifest, and that's how you can find your way into these powers, all right? So the rest of the show, I'm just going to go through and talk about these different powers and the planets that they connect, and sort of like what that looks like as magicians trying to pursue this stuff, okay? And I want you to look at it. No, let me rephrase that. I look at it. The way I look at it is I try to look at these things and I see this as a list of things that I want, all right? A means of getting what I want, a method of obtaining things that I want, okay? I have a plan. I want property. I want space to do my artwork, and time to write, and all my bills to be paid through just through established income streams. I don't want to worry about that stuff. I want to worry about writing, talking, teaching, and making things. That's what I want. That's fair, you know. But I figured out I've got a plan to get there. I've got different things I'm building now that in 10 years should be providing that for me, and I'm laying the foundation now. That's what I want. That's my desire. right? That's my effort. That's what all my efforts are going towards. But these powers, they're not the goal. I'm not looking for the gift of tongues. That's not what I want. I don't want to speak Swahili on demand. It's not my job to do that. I don't need that. That has nothing to do with what I want. You know, people who go after these powers just to have power, they're always they're pathetic, right? Number one, they're pathetic in their lives. They feel pathetic. I'm not judging. I'm saying they feel bad. They feel weak. They feel sad. They feel pathos is emotional. They're very emotionally wanting because they don't have power. They feel weak. They start weak. They feel weak. They're pathosetic. They're pathetic. Okay? They want the power because they're already sad because they don't have the power. It's not about the power. The power is about what you want. You don't get the power until you know what you want. You don't have the ability to do things. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not true. What I just said isn't true. You can do things without knowing, without necessarily wanting to do them. But you don't have the applicable ability to tap into these powers until you have a need for them. You know what I mean? Like clairaudience. Clairvoyance is path 13. It's a path of the supreme, the SPM, the sphere of the prime mover, and the sun. Okay, the source of everything in the sun. That path 13, which is Gemmel, the priestess, right? The high priestess always represents a pure force entering a situation. Also represents a resort to magic because it's purity entering the force, entering your situation. Okay, it's how the pure idea comes into being, right? So with clairvoyance, you just know things. It just beams from the all thing through the sun into your heart, and you receive it. Right? Clairaudience, you just hear things, you know? What do you hear? What do you get the messages from? Ask a psychic sometime, you know? It's a bunch of weird shit, and it turns out that it's always the right thing that somebody else needs to hear right now. You know, it doesn't mean anything to them. They're operating on behalf of other people. Psychics out there, my brothers and sisters, how many psychics out there are broke and can't get the lottery to work for you? You know? You have to know what you want, and you have to be able to do it, but you have to need it for it to manifest. You know what I mean? You have to have room for it to materialize in your life, you know? I've recently heard it said from Fanny, in fact, that Franny, I'm sorry, that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are, right? That's one of the teachings I learned from The Secret, right? The whole secrets of manifestation and all that, materialization. They teach that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And it's hinting at something that I understand in different words, in my opinion. That what we draw to ourselves, what we manifest when we do magic to materialize things, we have to have a want, an intention, and a need, and an urgency, a sense of urgency, like that intention. When I say you speak from your heart, you have to have a sense of urgent power pushing it into being. Okay, a need, an application, a practical use for it. You know, something to get what you want, because you have to have that emotional desire for it. If you just want to have clairvoyance, I want to know things without knowing why, you know, it's a miserable life. Nobody likes it. Okay, people who are psychics, you know, you aren't going to get that power, likely. You aren't likely going to get it if you aren't born with it. But if you want to develop it, you need to have a use for it. Okay, if you want clairvoyance, you need to actually become a psychic reader or something. You know, put yourself in a position where you're selling tarot readings and you're using the tarot, but you're listening for this clairvoyance. You know what I mean? And you read the cards, and you read the cards, and you do the magic, and you ask for initiations, and you read the book, and you do the books by the book. You read the person's cards by the book every time until you've done this initiation and you've received this clairvoyant gift. Even if you weren't born with it, where all of a sudden you're doing a card reading and you say, okay, this is not what the book says, this isn't what my instructions say, but I know that what's going on in this person's life is they've got the Queen of Discs who is watching over the seeds that they planted, who is interfering with their desires over here, because they've got the Seven of Swords, because she's trying to take the things that you're trying to use for your progress to protect what she needs over here. And I can see all that in these cards, and it's clairvoyance, but it's not the book's description of Queen of Pentacles and Seven of Swords. It's not that going by the book anymore. It's not where it's placed on the Tree of Life anymore. It's a clairvoyant understanding that's coming through the cards, because you've given it an opportunity. You've put in the request for the spirits to get the power. You give it an opportunity to come in, and your client needs you, and you want to fulfill their desire. So you get this moment where everything comes together. You've asked for it, you've prepared for it, you've done the work as if you had it, and then all of a sudden you needed it, and it shows up. And you can't do it again on purpose if you want to. I mean, it's hard. Eventually you can. You practice. You start to see what it takes to make it happen, and then you have an understanding of that clairvoyant power, right? People who are born with it, they don't understand how it works. I don't think Padre Pio went through Saturn to fucking understand how to be in two places at once. The more I talked about it, the less I thought that was true. But I think that as magicians, if we want to be in two places at once, there's ways to do that with Benon and Tifereth, Saturn and the Sun, right? So we use our planetary magic to establish our initiatory powers to get these magical powers that we weren't born with, to harmonize our world in a way that we get what we want. All right, so it's like if you want Mars to go away, you conjure Mars to go away and tell it to go away. It's like you know that conjuring Mars gets rid of it, because you understand how all this works, right? Anyway, what I'm saying is you get the experience to use this magic more effectively. All right, so okay, let me go back and reread some read some comments here, because I'm missing. I want to catch up, and I kind of want to break, because I don't want to just. I put this class thing together, and it seems like a lot of fun, like I thought it'd be great to go through all that, but now I'm looking at it, I'm like, do I really want to go? Divination is path 11, and is the combination of the sphere of the prime mover and the sphere of the zodiac. I mean, I do really want to do that, honestly, but it might be tedious for everybody else. So if it's tedious, I apologize, but I'm gonna go ahead and read the comments and respond to those real quick. All right, so spirits, bring me steak and bitches. Hell yes, steak and bitches. That's what it's about. Let's see. Part 2 says, how did old humans figure out these symbols? The design, I mean, channeled. Well, we do know that modern humans are using sigil techniques that they got from Agrippa, right? Agrippa talks about how did make sigils. It's all sympathetic magic. If you look at the walls back in ancient history, people thought that if you do a thing symbolically, you take a symbol and you do something symbolic to it, that's magic, right? And they figure if they did something in small, it would happen in large. If they did it in the invisible above, then it would somehow materialize down below. And intuitively they figured it out. When you ask how did the old humans, the first people, figure this out, I think they already knew. I think that intuitively part of us already knows. This magic shit is how we get back in touch with it, because our society has separated us from it. Our tribe has taken our power, because the oligarchs want all the money and power. And it's just because it's easier to live when you have money and power. I've been broke. I don't like it. It sucks. You got no power. I've been rich. It's better. I get it. I get how it works. Turns out the rich people want money because it makes life easier. I know, right? I'm a rocket scientist. Swear to God. All right. So anyway, I get why the oligarchs have stacked the situation so that they get all the money. But they keep us ignorant of our power and our potential. They keep us ignorant of what our desires are. They tell us what we want, and what we want, it turns out, is to work for them. Haha, we'll be happy then. Part of this path of magic is unpacking all that shit and getting to the point where, like, oh yeah, if I was born and I got to live today based on just being born and what I could do, You know, if my parents get me to the point where I'm able to hunt and kill on my own and nobody's going to tell me I can't, I think I could figure this shit out in a different way. But that's not the world I was born into. I was told from the first time I accepted that A means A. You know, it's bullshit. You're fed a line of shit and they take your power. And magic is how we get it back. Okay? The Corpus Hermeticum said, when we descended to Earth, we received all these powers, but then we forgot. And now we have to go up through the heavens and get it back and then return in power. That's Hermetic magic. And that's because fucking society stole our good knowledge, our good information, our good Earth, our good lives, and gave it to those rich bastards over in the corner. Fuck them, but also take care of yourself. All right. So anyway, rant over. Yeah. So that's how they figured it out. I think that you figure out these designs by being in nature. Like if you ever go to a river or the waterfalls or the beach or a mountain with the wind blowing on your face, anywhere in the desert at night, anywhere where you see the raw powers of nature away from lights and TV and your phone and all that bullshit of society, if you get rid of Vanity Fair and you fucking go outside, oh, it's beautiful, and you feel things in your heart, in your head. You feel the shit out there, and you hear the spirits. And people say, oh, I don't hear anything. I go out there. And it's because you're so fucking dead. You know, you gotta wake up a little bit. You need your initiations. You got your blood pumping again. You got to get your blood flowing. You got to hear with ears to hear. You got to see with eyes to see. You know, you have to get back the ability to enjoy your life and know what you want, and that you can have it, and then it's okay. You have to do all that stuff before you can get into it. But if you have even a little bit of self-worth, and you go outside, you say, oh, that's beautiful. I deserve that beauty in that moment. You can unpack every seal and every magical word, every magical act, as soon as you can accept the beauty of this world for yourself because you deserve it. You will start to hear that this entire universe is singing your song. Singing your song, and it wants you. It wants you to be happy. If you want. A lot of us don't want to be happy. I blame society. Whatever. Go be not happy. Let people not be happy. This is something I've figured out recently. Let people who don't want to be happy be unhappy. Fuck them. Anyway, that's my words of wisdom for you. No, because they're experiencing their life on their terms. Okay, we all are. And people who want to be miserable, they deserve the autonomy and the respect that comes with their choices. Let them be miserable if that's what they want. I try to tell people every time, I'm like, do this, you'll be happy. But when they say, oh, I can't, okay, you can't. Sorry, I thought you could. I mean, you can if you want, but if you can't, you can't. I get it. And I walk the fuck away. I'm not arguing with anybody anymore about your bullshit. Whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Live in your little cage. Oh, I'm stuck. Sorry. Move it and walk. You can do that. But you don't believe me, and nobody believes me. So fuck it. I'm not going to argue. I want land. I want income streams. I want to go outside and enjoy my life, and I want to have a lathe, and I don't want bills. So that's what I'm working on. Anyway, back to the let's see. Yeah, steak and bitches. There we go. Back to steak and bitches. Thank you. Steak and bitches. And gnosis, right? Gnosis leads to steak and bitches. This is how it works. This is magic. Sorry, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's see. What happens if you do this while taking a spagyric tincture of Venus? Ooh, what does happen? So what happens when you take these spagyric tinctures of Venus? What are you doing? You are taking, right? So what's a spagyric tincture of Venus? Anyone? Okay. All right, you take stuff of Venus, like something that's related to Venus, and you distill it to its essence, and you do all these alchemical processes to purify it, to extract its mercury and its salt and its not vinegar. You get out of the mercury and the salt and the vinegar and the pepper and the garlic. No. But you extract its principles, and then you make a tincture. It's an alcohol-based thing that has all the salts or whatever salts, those the other one, dissolved in it, the essences of this Venus item that you started with. And you can start with a Venus stone and distill its chemical properties. You can start with into something hopefully edible that doesn't kill you. You know, you can distill a plant. You can extract a plant in alcohol. You can whatever the Venus thing is that you're working with. You know, if it's an animal, maybe you get its fur or something, you know, and I don't know, it's fat. You know, you take the fat and make a oil for something. I don't know. You take the essence of this Venus thing and you distill it, you purify it until it's only just that one thing, and then you dissolve it in something, and then you drink it, eat it, swallow it. Okay, this is the great work. Take raw materials, purify them, distill them into a solid, dissolve that solid into a liquid, consume the liquid, that's the medicine, and heal the world. So when you do this with a Venus tincture, you're taking this purification thing, and you've done this whole process to purify it already. You've charged every cell of your body with the intention of purifying this essence of Venus, right? So if you're on the path between, what was that? That was 7 and 6. Let's see. So, let's see. That was Venus and the Sun. All right, Venus and Sun, Mercury, Venus and Sun. Okay. Oh, it's death. Fuckity fuck. Never mind. That's necromancy. God damn it. All right. So if you do this tincture. Thank you, Crowley. There's a lot more between Venus and the Sun, just for the record. It's the lesser benefic, and the Sun is projecting all of the beauty of joy and sex into this world, and he focuses on necromancy. Thank you, Crowley. But anyway, the point of necromancy falling on here is because if you're going to conjure the dead, you need to give them some form of life to animate, to be able to communicate, right? And necromancy is conjuring the dead to accomplish things for you. And the dead don't have a body, and they don't have any energy, a source of their own. So you need to work with the Sun to give them an energy source, and you go to Venus to give them the stuff that puts all of their life forms together, right? It's birth, it's sex, it's the generation of life, right? That generation of life creates something for the dead thing that you've conjured to inhabit. That's why it's Sun and Venus for necromancy. Anyway, but if you're in this Venus tincture, right? You took this Venus tincture and you're going to do some necromancy to get this dead thing to be able to materialize and influence the material world below. You know, because you've got that tincture of Venus, you're going to be able to experience those powers of life-giving force that comes out of the creative act, right? So if you look at the formulation of Aphrodite, Venus herself, she was formed at the severance of the testicles of Cronus, right? The foam of this whatever. She rose up out of it, out of the blood and semen. She is the essence of the generative force of God, as it's been sliced from God, right? In that moment, as it hits the sea with its blood and its foam, she's created, and she's the essence of lust and beauty, right? This is Venus, right? And it's also the realm of sexual copulation. Right, it's the realm of actual fucking. At the same time as her rising up out of the foam, the Fascinus was the actual phallus of Cronus. The Fascinus grew wings and flew the fuck away and became the Sun. It became the physical Sun, right? If you look at the symbol of the Sun, it's a circle with a dot in the middle. That's a pecker. That's the head of a penis looking right at you. That's the Sun. It's the phallus of fucking Uranus or Uranus, whatever. He's up there in the sky. It's a god pecker according to some myths. Anyway, the Fascinus is the Sun's. It's the Sun. It's the phallus with wings. That came out of that moment. Aphrodite and the Fascinus rose up out of that bloody foam. She became the feminine. That power of the Fascinus represents the creative force that manifests through the feminine to create life in the moment of orgasm, right? That's what Venus is, right? So when you're doing necromancy, the power of path, whatever the fuck it was, 27, what? 24, path 24, right? You're doing necromancy, right? And you've done this Venus tincture. What's going to happen when it comes time to create the form for that spirit you're calling up? Grandma, hey grandma, I'm calling on you. Grandma's like, the energy that was grandma, right? You're like, I have life for you because I understand you need it for me to be able to call on you. I have light from the sun, and I have this beautiful love that I have for you, the desire for you to incarnate again, the joyful union of this moment for us to come together, right? And not in a sexual way, but in the same way that sex creates the opportunity for a spirit to manifest. You're creating an opportunity, and that tincture of Venus has purified you to the point where you can see what she needs and to clarify it and be able to call on that power. And by calling that power, I mean call on the powers of Venus through either an intermediary or a familiar, or even vibrating your own Venus powers from your own heart initiations into this world to materialize your grandma, right? To give her the Venus energy she needs with the solar energy. And hopefully you've taken a solar tincture as well so that you're able to do that. So those two powers together in that moment would help you accomplish this magical power and the path, right? So that's what those tinctures do. They raise your vibration. They become vibrating at almost pure Venus level. You drink it, and through resonance. And if you don't understand how resonance works, it's like when you pluck a string in a guitar store. Every other string that's tuned to that resonance or that note will vibrate a little bit at least. That's resonance, right? So when you drink the tincture, you've got Venus powers in you too, and that tincture is vibrating really high. It passes that energy along to the resonance, through resonance, to raise that vibration in you, to increase your coherence and harmony with the powers that you need to manifest the result that you desire, that you want. You want grandma to show up. You have to have her for something. You need that will. You need that money. You need her to tell grandpa to shut the fuck up. You need her to give you the wisdom to deal with this situation with your husband. You need her to manifest for you, to scare the shit out of someone because she was a crazy old lady and they forgot. You need her to do this necromantic thing. You've created the bridge. You've taken the tinctures to make sure that you're vibrating at the level that's necessary to materialize that. You've drawn the essences. What does the star card represent? Right? The star card represents drawing down the essences of the planets and the zodiac and vibrating them into being in this material world. The reason The Secret always talks about vibrations, and the Kabbalion talking about vibrations, right? It's the most generic cartoon level way of explaining how this shit works. It's vibrations. We vibe it into being. Anyway, the tinctures, you're creating a vibration that's there, and you're taking it into yourself, and it makes it better to be able to do those powers, right? Better for you to be able to communicate with those powers, and to communicate with those powers in yourself. It dissolves the things that make you separate from your result, your desired result. Okay, it's all way at coagula. Dissolve and coagulate. We dissolve what separates us from the essence of what we want, and we bring in that essence to replace what we got rid of that wasn't pure enough. Okay, we wanted grandma here. We had an impure situation where there was no grandma. So we refined this space in our ritual until, with the proper powers, balancing things out until we had grandma by applying these powers, right? That's what we did with this great work. That's what the great work is. It's harmonizing your universe to accomplish your will. And what that means is the orchestra can play whatever the fuck you want to hear. You have to tell them what you want to hear, and you have to get the instruments together, and you have to conduct them, and you have to get the players to play. You have to do it if you want to hear it. Otherwise, they got other people telling them what to play, and then you can listen. You can respond. You don't have to be the conductor. The things you have going on in your life that you don't like are things that are going on that other people like. Elon Musk likes a lot of things to go his way, and he likes that. And everyone who just responds to his desires contributes their power to his bank account. That's their choice. They can do that. If they're happy with that plastic screen and that little burst of emotions that they get from him, great. Fulfill your destiny by giving billionaires money. That's it for you. Awesome. I have to respect that, I guess. I don't, but I probably should. Fuck that for me, though. Not for me. I want to create my life. I want to do what I want when I want to do it without people standing in the way. I want the resources I need to do what I want, and I want to have a good time. And all I want is to have a good afternoon. And I can do that with or without money. I can do that with or without resources, you know. But I want something new, exciting, different, good. I want it to reflect my incarnation. I could have incarnated as anybody, and they would have wanted something else. But I incarnated as me so that I could have this. And I'm going to do it, right? Anyway, so, okay. Where was I? What do you think about asking Saturn in the Saturn hour to get you in touch with Venus when it's not the Venus hour? Oh, yeah, it's just, it's like I said earlier, all the powers are here all the time. You just can't hear it, you know, and I think, like, for Mars and Venus, the question is, what do you think about asking Saturn in the Saturn hour to get you in touch with Venus when it's not the Venus hour? And can Saturn talk to Venus? Is there a Kronos and Venus connection? I don't know of one. I think that they're not on par enough. They're out of tune a little bit. They're each singing a different aspect of life. Maybe sorrow, because broken hearts and death are similar, right? You lose something and there's a similarity to it, but the sorrow of love and the sorrow of death are very different things. So maybe there's a union there. Maybe in the Saturn hour you can say, in the same way that blah blah blah, please connect to Venus, but you need to make that connection. You need to understand it yourself, right? Hode, Mercury, is the sphere of understanding, and it's the sphere where you get the scintillating vision of the universe, right? You see how not only is it all a big machine, it's how the power that powers the machine can be used to harmonize things in your favor, right? You have to have that Mercury understanding to be able to find that connection between Venus and Saturn. Now, if it's the Mars hour and you want to get in touch with Venus, no problem. You say, hey, Mars, you know, that lady that is the mother of your children, I need to talk to her. I need to talk to your baby mama. You know, he's got a relationship. You know, if you need to talk to somebody that we have the lore around, the lore builds the connection, the network, the neural link between these two concepts, right, is found in the myths and the stories. And it's going to be easier to get in touch with them if you've got that backdrop. And I believe this is probably not something that's going to make me real popular. I believe it's your expectation that influences your results, right? I think that's not controversial. Everybody should agree with that. But the controversial part is when you realize that people who are convinced they're going to hell if they work with demons have demons act like they're going to take them to hell when they conjure them. That's the problem with this setup. What you expect is what you're going to get. So you need to be super skeptical about everything so that you don't get shit that you don't want. You know, the power of your skepticism can't be, you know, at the end of the day, if you're getting cursed the hell out of it and you can convince yourself that magic isn't real and you're in charge of your life, you know, you don't believe in that fate shit. Don't worry about the vase. It'll be fine. You know, you can snap yourself out of this stuff by changing your mind, right? Anyway, can you cause specific delusions for other people with magic, like specifically making them see a demon or a dragon, troll, etc.? So in high school, if you're in high school and you want to do high school shit, sure. But in high school, I actually, I had a friend, Pam, and she and I were into all the new age hokey weird shit and read tarot cards in the quad before school started. We were the weirdos doing that, the weirdos who had the tarot cards. But we got into energy work, and we'd throw energy balls back and forth, and I could tell you what color her energy ball was that she was sending me. She'd think it was pink, I'd be like, oh, it's pink. She'd think it was purple, I'd be like, it's purple. Because she and I worked together a lot on this kind of thing, and we imagined that it worked great, and it worked great. We formed anyway. Point being, she could make people see specific things. She would visualize. Eye colors was her favorite thing. Like, she liked to make girls think their eyes had changed color, and I don't know why she was petty like that, but she was petty like that. The girls would come out of the bathroom, and you'd hear them talking about how, oh my god, my eyes were blue, and that's what she would do. She'd make their eyes turn colors, and she did cause people to see dragons. In fact, making them see a dragon, for example, was something that she did, and it was a projection of her. Her spirit familiar, that she was astrally spying on someone, and she wanted them to be aware of it. So she projected that dragon image into their mind, and they told her about it the next day. And it's yes, you can do that. She was really good at it. I'm not that good at it. If I were doing it, I'd conjure a spirit, and I'd ask the spirit to do it for me, because I'm not good at it. I don't know how to do that, and I have no interest in it. I don't see the point of that. I think it's silly. I got other things. I mean, if I could send a troll somewhere, I'm going to send a troll to go and get me like a pile of gold, because that's what I think about things. I'm a Taurus, But if I was like an Aries, I'd send a troll to go defeat my adversaries, straight up, just tear them limb from limb. If I could do that, But I'm not into all that. I'm into different things. Okay. Matt Bennett sends his regards. Hey Matt, how's it going? You solar fuck. I'm just kidding. He used to worship the sun god. I've been giving him shit about it ever since, because it's fun. Douglas Cameron is running late, no problem, whatever. Inconvenience adversaries is fun. To be honest, I did gain some powers, and then I was just as weird and neurotic and able to do some extra stuff. Exactly. That's the thing, is if you don't change your mind about things, you're only ever going to be able to do what you want, right? And you're not going to super. People think that after I've done these rites, I'm going to become like some suave, debonair multimillionaire, and no, even if you get $1 million, you're not going to have class. You're not going to suddenly have taste in music and art that you didn't have before. You're not going to have a beautiful set of prints, that are on your walls that are complementary with your furniture, because you don't know what that means unless you hire someone else to do it. And are you going to appreciate it? No, I'm just going, oh, that looks nice. Whatever. Whatever. Rocket surgeon, yeah, that's me. All right. Fataline, absolutely. Good rant. Yes, I rant. Let's see. Any other questions? Blood and veins. Okay, cool. I didn't know all that. Venusian plants usually have amounts of copper. Our Lord Helios is not a god pecker. Your Lord Helios is still a god pecker. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm caught up on all the questions here. Awesome. Okay, so carrying on. Powers. So let's just go over these real quick, as quickly as I can. Divination is the marriage of Sphere of the Prime Mover and the Sphere of the Zodiac. Turn on my thing. All right, so Sphere of the Prime Mover, Kether, and the Zodiac down here, 1 and 2. All right, so divination, that's the Fool. So the Fool, how does the Fool divine things? Okay, so divination is just knowing what's going on with things, and not necessarily doing anything with it. So, like, if you look at the other aspects of divination, you've got divination by dreams and prophecy, right? And the prophet is the powerful thing that connects Bina and the sun. I talked about that earlier. And this Fool, though, is not the powerful connection between Bina and the sun. It's the I just know things, right? And if you look at the people who were diviners in our mythologies, they didn't have a lot of power. Tiresias, what's her name? The woman, I want to say Catherine, not Catherine. Cassandra, right? She was cursed to never be believed, right? These are all people who can see the all. They can see fate. They're connected through unity to the zodiac, the sphere of fate, the zodiac. They know what's going to happen, but they don't have any power. They don't have any ability to influence it, to change it. They can't even be believed half the time. That's just divination, right? So knowing what's going to happen without necessarily knowing anything about it is divination. That's the path here between Kether and Hokmah. From there, you can become powerful enough or wise enough, from your divination to become powerful, but it doesn't come inherently with power. So divination works by knowing everything that's happening through the unity. You're connected to all, and being able to get in touch with the sphere of the zodiac. And by the way, the sphere of the zodiac has 12 archangels. Each can be talked to directly. The sphere itself, I believe, is I can't remember, is it Metatron or Ratziel or something like that? No, that's Kether. I want to say Yophiel, maybe? Yophiel, I think, is the archangel of Hokmah. Anyway, those spirits can be talked to directly if you ever want to know what's up with other people in specific details, like what they have to go through, or if you're trying to understand a situation and you don't really know what's going on with it, you can always go to that sphere and get a general understanding of things in the same way that you can get from reading a description of someone's natal chart. Okay, Solar Fire creates a report for everybody based on their birth date, and it has everything that the robots ever knew about astrology, and it creates a report for you. That's what you get out of Hokmah. And if you connect to it through your unity with everything, and how do you get in touch with Kether? Anything that comes out of Kether, all these powers, they're activated by, for me, my mantra: Zeus the head, Zeus the middle, Zeus the all in all. The thing that you use to connect to your source, whatever it is that connects you to oneness, the one allness, all things, right? That power, that path is what connects you to Kether. So you do that to get in touch with Kether, and then you conjure these spirits of Hokmah to give you this understanding, and that's how you do divination, right? That's a method of divination if you want to tap into these powers directly. Miracles of healing. Okay, hands-on healing. If you look at the early church, they were able to heal people, and the apostles all had the power of healing. All these things. Crowley was a charismatic Christian, you guys. He was a puritanical, charismatic Christian. He could do all this stuff because he used all these powers of magic from the Bible because he was exposed to it as a child. I grew up in a charismatic church. We had these powers growing up. Okay, this wasn't the powers of magic that you have to do all this stuff to understand. This was the power of God working through his vessels to change the world, right? And all these powers, divination is the word of knowledge, right? You get that from God. Miracles of healing, hands-on healing, you pray to God and he heals them through the power of your laying on hands. And this is all chakra energy work. This is your palm chakras and the lightning energy that flows through you. It's your faith operating with your emotions and your words. Be healed in Jesus' name, right? We did all that stuff, and we used all these powers of magic to do this stuff without really understanding what we were doing. You don't have to know all this stuff, but as magicians, we want to. We like it. We want to know what we're doing. We want to know how to make it work. We want to make sure we're not fucking it up. We're careful about that kind of thing. We're not slipshod religionists going around, "Oh, Jesus' name, be gone, demon." You can do that, but it's just not us. No, thank you. I can do better. I can do better than that, I think. So, anyway. Gift of tongues, miracles of healing. This is one of the acts of the apostles. This is Saturn and the sphere of the prime mover, right? So that's whoops. Grab just the lightning bolt here. Okay, so that's the sphere of the prime mover and Saturn. And again, anything that's healing has to do with changing fate. If somebody is morbidly dead, right? They're gonna die from this disease. That's fate level stuff. That's the realm of death itself. right? So if you're going to heal someone who's dying, or they've got necroscopy or whatever, that where your body is where your cells have died from the wounds you've gotten, or from the disease that's happening, or the virus that's eating you, or the cancer that's choking off your nutrients, or whatever the fuck it is that's killing you. If you're dying from this shit, that's Saturn. Right? That's Bina, right? So miracles of healing are going to have to involve stopping death. And how do you stop death? You have to be at one with it. You have to be able to miraculously diffuse this dying thing and heal it, right? So these Qigong people that can do healing, my wife who can do bowl healing, you know, she's gotten to a point where she puts her hands on you and you feel like a lightning charge go through you, right? Because if she turns it on, because she's been doing it so much. As she's practiced, she's gotten more powerful. Okay, this is stuff you can just feel. I can watch it happen. Practice matters. Anyway, so for gifts of healing, you got to know how Saturn works. Health is death. Death is health. It's like you call on Mars to get rid of attacks. Even though he's the god of war, the god of attacks, he can stop these things, right? So health magic is done with death planet, and your unity with everything. Gift of tongues, unity with everything again. You've got Kether, right? So Kether is your unity with everything. Gift of tongues is also on path 12. It's the sphere of the prime mover that connects Saturn, which is the fate and the materialization of everything, and the existence is sorrow, right? So you need a connection to everybody to be able to understand what they're saying, and you need to be unified with them. So you have to understand their intent, and you have to have a connection with them. So how does that tell you that the gift of tongues is going to manifest? If I go to Somalia and I don't speak Somalian, and I get the gift of tongues, am I going to say something and they're going to hear me in Somalian? Am I going to speak Somalian, or are they just going to know what I mean? Okay, if I have a conversation with someone from Somalia and I have the gift of tongues, they hear me and know what I mean without hearing a word in Somalian. That's been my experience in real life with that, right? You talk to someone who doesn't speak your language and you're trying to speak like they need directions or something, or you're trying to order food or something, you look at them real hard like, okay, please understand me even though I don't know what I'm saying. And you say it with big words and you exaggerate everything, but you're thinking it real loud and they're picking up on it. Okay, so between pantomime, your facial expressions, their understanding of the context clues, and something else, they're able to pick up on it. Now, when it's a spiritual gift and it's actually a magical power, it's miraculous looking how all that comes together, and the unified essence lets your meaning come through regardless of the words being spoken. You understand very unique, detailed, specific things that, of course, you would understand if you're in touch with your Saturn, because everything comes through Saturn and everything is unified through Saturn, and it is the solid foundation of everything that exists. So we are all connected all the time through Saturn. Slowly, deadly, slow. There's an aspect that lets me be able to communicate with everybody with intent, with practice. Knowledge of sciences, also path 12. Knowledge of sciences, knowledge of everything. So everything that has to do with knowledge is in Saturn. It's the sphere of wisdom, Bina, sorrow, wisdom, occult power, wisdom. Wisdom. It comes from knowing fate. It comes from knowing time. It's knowing everything that's ever going to happen is known in Saturn. It's all right there. Again, through your unity. So how do you get in touch with it? You do your unity exercises. I do my Zeus the head, Zeus the middle, Zeus the all in all meditation. 108 times every day. Fucking it connects me to everything. By the time I'm done, by the time I'm on number 3 or 4 of it, I'm like in a different headspace. By the time I've done like 25 of them, every time you say zzz, you fucking this vibrates, and your sinuses start to clear from saying Zeus 100 times. And it's like you're sitting there, snot running down inside your head, and you're seeing the universe unfold before you. And it's like, it's a weird juxtaposition, I tell you what. But every day I do that, and it connects me to the unity. It connects me to my brothers and sisters who are the unmanifest, and it connects me to my experience every day. So I have that connection to the Kether, to the prime mover. You know, when I was a Christian, I prayed every day to the Holy Spirit. I prayed in tongues. You know, I pursued God. I was a God chaser as a Christian. I love God. Love God. That's how you get Kether. All these powers on path 12, on path 13, on path 11, right? So that's divination, miracles of healing, gift of tongues, knowledge of sciences, the white tincture, clairvoyance, divination by dreams. All of these powers come from start with your pursuit of your source, your understanding of who you are in relation to, oh, come on, everything else. Know thyself. Know thyself. I'll say it every fucking show. Whosoever therefore shall know themselves shall know all things in themselves, especially they shall know God, according to whose image they were made. All right, this is from Agrippa, guys. This is Hermetic magic. Know yourself, right? That's the secret. Anyway, sorry. Okay, carrying on. Oops, not that one. I had the powers up the whole time. I forgot that I had them. Anyway, yeah, so there's the powers. And here's the paths. Sorry, guys. I just could have totally been like referencing this whole time. Anyway, so anyway, these powers on 11, 12, and 13 are all going to be found through the source. 14 is love sphincters, or sorry, love filters. It is the path between, yes, 14. Where's 14? 14 is 2 and 3, so this is the astrology and Saturn. So what were we talking about? This was love filters. Oh, this is how you make someone love you. Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. Fate and zodiac, right? So this is tampering with true love. So if you want someone to actually love you, love filters are what they used to call like the pinnacle of Venus that is used to actually manipulate people into falling in love with you. The love filter, Philtres, the filters were actually coercive magical spells, and the reason that they are up here in the sphere of the zodiac and Saturn is because it's you're fucking around with fate and you're binding people to it. Okay, you're saying, I am now your fate. Whatever you were born to experience, fuck that. I am taking the place of it. I am going to Hokmah. I am going to the sphere of whatever, and I'm saying, I am the one that you are destined to love. And then I'm going to Saturn and I'm binding you to it. So that's why love, coercive love magic is up here on 2 and 3. It's not down there on Venus, right? You think I need to go to Venus to make this person love me. No, you go up here to fucking fuck with them at the Saturn, and this is malefic magic, you guys. This is Bina, is fucking Saturn is the greater malefic. It's malefic to do this shit that I'm talking about. But that's why love filters are up here on 2 and 3. So let's see, go on. What's next? We got the power of consecrating things. Why do you want to consecrate things? This is to make them holy, right? So that evil things can't use them anymore. Evil people can't use them. So if you consecrate something, it gets rid of the evil in it. So that's the sphere of the zodiac. Everything that has to do with their fate, everything that is on their natal chart is being altered through the sun, right? The sphere of the sun. It makes it possible to bring holiness to a thing and eliminate the negative effects that you're getting. Path 16 is the secret of physical strength. This is between oh, fuck you probably. So sometimes he makes these little jokes. So he connects. So when he refers to the sphere of the zodiac, he's talking about what you're born with, right? So in the terms of nature versus nurture, this is nature for him. So the sphere of the zodiac, when he says when he says the secret of physical strength is found on path 16, he's saying that it's a combination of what you're born with genetically. You know, the sphere of zodiac represents what you're born with. And Jupiter, whatever good luck you happen to get, the gift of the gods. So it's entirely outside of your ability, is what he's saying. But if you actually do want to change that, you'd have to go in and change what you're given and ask for a gift. Because physical strength, he's saying, it's just luck. It's just what you happen to be born with, and it's what the good grace of God is to give you. So if you're born and you're not physically strong, you need to go to Jupiter and you ask for him to bless you with the physical strength. And if you've got the genetics for it and you still aren't strong, you just ask for the blessings too, right? So you got to combine those two things. You got to get lucky and have it work. You have to be born with it.
basically, according to Crowley, in my opinion. Bilocation and prophecy, we talked about that a little bit earlier. The power of casting enchantments is on path 18 over here between Saturn and Mars, right? So it's an enchantment. An enchantment is where you coerce someone into doing things. This is the greater malefic and the lesser malefic, right? So if you're going to do an enchantment where you force someone to do your will, you're going to go into fate and Mars, so that their will is replaced by yours, and Mars takes their actions to force them to do what you want. So an enchantment forces people to do what you want, according to path 18. And it's the chariot card, right? So if you go to think of it as the chariot, making the charioteer serve you, right? Let's see. So if I want to do better and say divination by dreams, I should approach SPM and the sun for initiations and guidance, so I could do this easier. No, that's right. And you are a fool, yes. But fools get this shit. That's how it is. It's easier, you know. It's path 11. The number of magic is 11, right? So why isn't the Magus on path 12? It fucks me up every time. But it's the Fool. The Fool is the path of magic, right? Of course, we're all fools, yes. But yes, you got it. You understand it. Is there ways to regrow spine? I lost 2 inches. Hurts like hell. Saturn, yes. Saturn is the place to go. Saturn is the realm of bones. Is it going to grow back your actual bones? Probably not. Are you going to get your 2 inches back? I got nothing. Yeah, the Fool is a god who doesn't know exactly. But seriously, Diana, if you want to do work on your spine, healing, right? You want to do healing. So this is the gift of healing was go back to Miracles of Healing 12, path 12. That's the Kether and Bina, right? So this is serious, you guys. Like, physical pain sucks, and if you're going through it, healing is vitally important. My wife got into this sound healing thing, and it's miraculous. It's literally miraculous watching harmonics increase the likelihood of people having a good time. All right, I'm not saying that it heals physical ailments in scientific ways. I think it helps by eliminating stress. I think scientifically we can prove that by creating the emotional and whatever mental state that you get into when you do a sound bath, it facilitates healing, and that's scientifically provable. Okay, and that's Kether and Bina. That's the sphere of the prime mover, and Saturn, the realm of death. Right, understanding that this is the realm of healing, is how we get past this. Okay, healing is important. We're living longer and our bodies are still breaking down. I was watching some stupid show, The Dead Boy Detectives, and they talked about they had this witch who was given eternal life and was getting older, so she was killing children to take their vitality so that she remained young, because the Lilith gave her the power of immortality without the power of eternal youth, which is another Greek myth. Where I was going with that. Anyway, the thing is your body breaks down over time, and you need to heal it. Okay, and healing, the longer we live, the more we're going to break down. And I'm 50 now, you guys, and it's not bad, because I took steps when I was like 35, 36, actually like more like 45, 46. I started taking steps. So it's not so bad right now, but it could have been a lot better if I had been more careful. But magic is helping, okay? The resonance of these healing treatments is improving the quality of my life. Whether it's just in my head or not, I don't care, because my experience of my existence is such that I am feeling better. So healing rites are important, okay? And Diana, when you say a way to regrow spine, do the magic to regrow your spine, okay? Do the daily meditations to get in touch with God as best as you can in spite of the pain. Do that. Connect to your source and ask the powers of Saturn to heal you, to change your fate, to recreate your spine, or to bring you the life that you need, you know, that would come from that healing, right? Ask to live as if you were healed, regardless of whether or not you were healed. Because I don't know if you can regrow in 2 inches of spine. I think it would be awesome if you could. But what the magic can do is create a funding source for a doctor who's researching stem cells to do an experiment on whether or not they can regrow bone, and maybe they need someone who has a spinal injury to test it on. All right, weird shit happens. I live in Seattle, and I was working. I'm not right now, but for a while I was working for big pharma, and there's weird shit going on. Okay, there's weird shit going on all over the place that is out there, and it's scientific and it's provable, and people don't have to live the way that they live, and it's not approved by the FDA, and it might never be, but there are ways and means that magicians have access to with magic. Do the magic with Kether to get in tune with everything. Do the magic that gets you in touch with your source, and then do the magic to heal your fucking spine and see what happens, because weird shit happens. It might not be your 2 inches come back. Maybe you get a different 2 inches. Anyway, but do the magic is what I'm saying. Healing is important. Our bodies aren't getting any better. Let's see. Always works for them for that reason. Peace out. All right, guys, I gotta go too. Everybody, thanks very much for your time. Go through that PDF. There's a link in the comments, in the description. Take a look at it. It shows what powers we have and what spheres connect them. Work with the powers of those spheres and ask for the miraculous. Ask for the wild, weird shit and see what happens. Pursue your source. Know yourself. Know yourself, and all things will be added unto you, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all things shall be added unto you. It's awesome. Love y'all very much. Have a great evening. Let's see. Daryl has one question here. For the paths like 17, for example, that connect planetary spheres, does it make sense to do a ritual on the day of, say, Saturn, but during the hour of the sun? You know what? Honestly, just do it. I do have to go, but just do a tarot card reading on it. See what they say. Always divine. Always check on it and see what you need. We aren't in this alone. There's no hard and fast answers. Ask your friends. See what they've done, and do divinations. Do your tarot card readings, do your pendulums, ask and see what it says. And also trust your intuition, and don't be afraid to be wrong. Experiment, fuck it up, fix it, fuck around, find out. That's how we learned. And it's okay.